Hey guys, today I'm starting a podcast. I don't really know what I'm gonna call it yet, but I'm giving it a shot. Figured I got a bunch of funny stories I can tell, get some funny things out, try to get some views. Um, I'm gonna start the first episode off on like one of my misadventures. Uh, tell you about my sophomore year going to fat camp, which that's pretty funny, isn't it? Obviously, it didn't work too well, but I gave it a shot. I'm trying to lose weight right now, but I got in a car crash, so that held me back a little bit. But getting back on track, I know what to do. I'm just the type of dude that just doesn't listen. So sophomore year, I had gotten in trouble for weed a bunch. I was a pothead, little kid. Sophomore year, I get suspended for weed, and I live in this place, Chesterfield, Virginia. So it's nicknamed Arrestafield. So they were super big. There was no violence like that happening. So they were going after petty things like weed, kids, big on that. So basically, what happens when you get in trouble in high school is when you get in trouble in the school, they arrest you too. So not only do you get fucked by the school, you get fucked by the county. So I had already gotten suspended in eighth grade for weed. Ninth grade, I got suspended for cigarettes, which is stupid as shit. That's a story for another time. But basically, what ends up happening is I was supposed to meet up with my friend and smoke weed in the woods by our high school called our little smoke spot called Narnia. He overslept, didn't show up, so I had to find somebody to go with. And my substitute teacher, we had a long term substitute because my English teacher's daughter had gotten in trouble for diddling a kid that went to our high school, um, which is another crazy story. But so once she got caught, and that was a whole nationwide story, we had people in England sending us clips. It was crazy. And then, so this teacher knew me, and I went to the woods, smoked, but she saw me do the Pledge of Allegiance. But I brought I thought it was a .5, but looking back, it was probably a gram. And it was me and one other dude. So it was like 2 hours, because you got to think, we're 10th grade, so we're smoking steamies. Which if you don't know what that is, it's a water bottle. You put a hole in the side, hole in the top, and you put a little socket wrench in that hole. And then you pack the weed in that. And then it's kind of like a ghetto, like a dry bowl, kind of. It's gross. But my nickname back then was the Steamy King because that was the only thing I'd smoke out of. So we smoked for 2 hours, fucking around. Maybe 3. Yeah, it was 3. So I got really unlucky this day, and when I came back to school, I'd said I overslept. Well, the class I go back to was the one with the sub. She's like, "You didn't oversleep. I saw you this morning." I was like, "No, you didn't." Trying to lie, high as shit. She ends up getting the administrators, and they didn't fuck with me, so I start busting my balls a little bit. And then one of them's like, "Why are your eyes so red?" And I was like, "I'm tired," the normal. And she's like, "No, you're high." And they'd known I'd smoked weed. They'd probably heard about my name. So she's like, "I'm gonna drug test you." And I was like, "Well, I smoked." Because there was no point. I was going to fail. So they searched me. I didn't have any weed left because I smoked it all, but I had a hot socket wrench with resin in it. And they used that to charge me. So how it goes is you have a 10-day suspension, and then you have to go meet with the superintendent. And if you're a piece of shit, they'll expel you. It was my second, so I was supposed to get expelled. But it had been a couple years, so they were a little lenient. And this was the first week of the second 9 weeks. So this was around October, November-ish, around Thanksgiving. I get suspended. It's for the rest of the 9 weeks. So yeah, it was October. So that included Thanksgiving break, winter break, which was 3 weeks, and then the break when the 9 weeks ended. So they also sent me to night school. But I was in all honors classes. There was obviously no honors classes because this is where all the bad kids go. ends up happening that you only go 4 times a week from 6 o'clock at night to 9 o'clock at night. So I've loved it. I mean, I was obviously excelling significantly because I was used to honors classes, and then like they're doing group tests. So like I didn't give a shit in school because I was smart and I could pass the test anyway. But at night school, it was like I was like surprised these kids couldn't understand what I was thinking, you know. But like looking back, I was just a little smarter, a little. I was dumb, obviously getting in trouble, but I was smarter, like school wise, and end up going to court, get put on drug testing, and what it's called is colors. And how it works is they'll put you up for a weekend, or every Sunday you're supposed to call, and they'll say a color. So mine was yellow. Um, the main colors for felonies back then were red and blue. So let's say there's a 5 week month, and there were like four main colors. I think they were red, blue, which were the felonies, and then yellow, and I want to say it was green or something. It was a weird one. But the misdemeanor ones I was in, they'll get called once a month. The felonies might get called twice a month because like they know these are the people that are really gonna fuck up. So fast forward, I had started smoking spice, which is synthetic weed. It's called K2. Look it up. So basically, what they take is a bag of potpourri. They make some ghetto ass chemicals, and it started off similar to weed, but then the government would make it illegal. So they just changed the chemical compound slightly, and then what would happen is now it's legal because it's a different chemical now. But they're not testing this for like health effects, you know. So there's that Tunchi stuff down in Florida. That's all K2 from what I heard, and it's just like a Florida brand of like basically K2 on crack. I mean, and you turn into a zombie real quick because what happens is first time you smoke it, you typically freak out, and then dumb people like me smoke it a second time, and it only lasts for 30 minutes. So now you're smoking it consistently because like used to weed lasting an hour, 2 hours, maybe three. When you're a kid, I mean, it could be, I don't know. You eat some edibles, it could be 4 hours type thing. Um, but pretty quickly, I get addicted to it. And I'm 15, so I'd never really dealt. I dealt with addiction slightly. Back in ninth grade, I got my hand on a bunch of Xanax from my mom's like old medicine. Ate them like candy over 3 weeks. Was like just an idiot for a little while. But this is the first time I'm addicted. Like I can't function without it. And what was fucked is I was getting it off these people in the neighborhood. I'm not gonna say who. Still love them, but at the time it was kind of fucked up because they were like older role models. But they were on it, so I can't really judge them because it's like misery of a feather flock together, you know. But basically, I'm spamming these dudes if they don't answer. Like I remember one day, he didn't answer for 2 days, and you got to think, I'm starting to feel like a fiend after 45 minutes. And this is the most sober I've probably been in years. And basically, like, or not years, but like in a while since I started smoking the spice. Like going 2 days without it was like, sounded like 2 years, you know? And keep going forward. Gets towards the end of the year. I'm still fighting it on and off. I got caught by my parents, and they're like, if you do it one more time, we're going to put you in rehab. So now I'm being super careful. I'm smoking it in school too. I was so addicted, I got to the point I'm smoking it out of mechanical plastic pencils because I could hit 1 or 2 hits before the plastic melts, which just shows you how big of a crackhead I was, that I knew I was smoking plastic. I knew it was horrible for me, but who gives a shit as long as I'm getting high? So fast forward to the end of the year, a lot of getting in trouble. I was banned from seeing certain friends, and I had this friend. I don't know if y'all can see it, but Cal. He's my first friend that died. And what had happened is, so basically he had a bunch of family issues. I'm not going to spread his business out, but he took his own life. And I'd never dealt with nothing like that. Like, I had had depression, I'd been suicidal, talking about killing myself, but it was always like a little kid thing, like, oh, I want to die. Like, it was never take my own life for real. So it was heavy, and the school didn't handle it at all. Um, I I was popular because I was a weed kid and I was funny, but I hung out mainly with like the not gothic emo, but like in the middle. Like, they weren't 100% cutting themselves, but some of them were, and the ones that weren't were heavy into heavy metal, wearing all these band T-shirts, wearing all black. So like my main squad was a little different, and Cal was real different. Like, that man cut his tongue in half with scissors, just held a napkin, let it bleed for hours. Didn't go to the hospital or nothing. And he said he did it just so he could go like this when he was eating pussy. Um, was just an amazing kid, man. One of the first kids that I really trusted as a friend, and I didn't think was a piece of shit. And he just had a lot of family trouble, and his dad kicked him out, so he got caught selling or doing Molly, either or. And the whole reason he was living at his dad's house was because of drugs. So he's about to be graduated. His dad kicks him out. So he walks to Lowe's, buys a rope, and then walks to my neighborhood. There's this little pond in it, this little park, and there's a main road that connects all the neighborhoods where I live. And underneath it's a tunnel because there's a lake on both sides of the road. And he used to fish there. Like, it was a real good memory place for him. And tied the rope to the gate and jumped off the tunnel. And unfortunately, he died. He was so skinny, his neck snapped in half right away. I mean, it was like a 10, 15 foot. It was like an 8, 9 foot drop. So it was like a pretty good drop for just jumping. But I had never dealt with nothing like that. And then the school gave us 1 day of counseling, and they were like, y'all good? So we staged a revolt because, like, I'm over here crying in class, like, not doing stuff because, like, my friend had just died. And I'm growing up in the suburbs where, like, I'm thinking we're all going to go to college one day, I'll be friends forever, everything's all safe and good. I don't know. Like, I know a struggle at home with, like, fighting with family, but I don't know a financial struggle, or I wasn't worried about my friends getting shot unless, like, one of us got robbed by some dudes from Richmond, which, like, Southsiders are just, back then it was weird. People from Richmond would come to the suburbs, rob. It's probably like that at a lot of places. Thinking we had money, but, like, really we didn't have money. Our parents just had the, like, image of money. Like, they might have made a good bit, but they're spending all of it on their house, cars, and family. So, like, the kids don't really got shit. And then the kids want to look like they're rich because they're living in this nice place. So now they're, like, trying to find ways to earn money. And back then, I think minimum wage was $7.25. So you're not going to get a job and really save up. What you're going to do is start selling weed. And I live in a neighborhood that was known for, like, selling weed. The neighborhood by us was called Hood Lake. It was known for people, like, doing grimy shit. We had another neighborhood called Trashbrook, and that was because everybody there was broke and was robbing people. So, like, everyone around them didn't really fuck with them because, like, you couldn't trust them as far as you could throw them unless you found a good dude in there. A lot of skaters around there, a lot of, like, dudes that had came from the ghetto, and, like, this was like their upgrade, but now they're bringing the ghetto to the suburbs, robbing people with guns and shit. And, like, you gotta think, I'm going to, like, one of the preppiest schools in the area, like, where everybody calls them the rich kids. So, like, seeing people get robbed with guns was shocking. And then sorry, I got off track. My bad. But fast forward, I'm addicted. My friend kills himself, and so like me and my friend group were really tight. So we start going to this tunnel every day. We graffiti this thing. We claim the tunnel like we were living in it. So I'm spending every day in there smoking. Oh, shit. Okay. Sorry, I thought I fucked up the recording. But I'm spending every day in there. I'm like really I'm empty, man. But I end up deciding to smoke weed to quit the spice. And I knew I'd fail the drug test and probably go to juvie or court, get in trouble. But it was like, it was getting to the point because people OD off this stuff. So, like, I'm thinking I'm smoking it till I pass out. Or you like, sometimes I'd smoke it and blow out a hit and I'd fall back like this. Like, kind of like a fucking T-Rex. But I'm laying on my back on the ground and I can't move for like 30, 40 minutes. But I'm conscious, but I'm asleep in a sense, like paralyzed. So, yeah, that just, it was getting to the point I needed to quit. So I started smoking. Gets to the point where obviously I had to take a drug test. I failed it. My parents come to me. They're like, we think you're doing drugs because you're insecure, which is true. But it wasn't what they thought, which they thought was because I was big. So I was always big. I always had insecurities about it. But I was doing drugs at this point because I was a drug addict. Like, the being big might have started me dabbling in the drugs, but, like, I was far gone at this point. But I didn't know how to tell my parents I'm 15. I don't want to hurt them. So I'm like, yeah, that's it. Telling them I was a drug addict seemed worse, you know? So they sent me to this camp down in South Carolina, which is like 2 states away, right by Savannah, Georgia. It's called Mindstream Academy. You can look it up. I don't know if it's still open, but that place was crazy, man. So I'm going the middle of the summer because obviously we had graduated. So now I'm about to go into junior year. And if I remember right, I went with the purple mohawk, which is some crazy shit. Like I said, I was kind of on the weird shit. I'd been dyeing my hair. And I wasn't doing it because I really wanted to dye my hair. I was doing it to piss off my parents. And, like, just, it was something to be shocking. Do you get me? But keep going forward. And now I'm in fat camp. Which I'd seen the movie Heavyweights as a kid. I thought it was ridiculous. And I get there, and these motherfuckers are like, you want to go with us to the gym or, like, kick back and hang out? And I'm like, well, I'm here. Let's go to the gym. Because I worked out with my dad as a kid, so I'm thinking we're going to be on weight machines, doing the treadmill, stuff like this. And we get there. They put us on the treadmills, all this. And then, like, 10 minutes in, this buff-ass dude walks in, probably like 5'11", 6 foot. There's this half Filipino dude, half white dude. Dad was an Army colonel. Fit as hell, dude. I think his name was Nick. I can't remember exactly. And then our trainers, we had people that lived there full time as staff. They were all fit as shit. So he comes in and, like, I'm expecting him to be like, all right, run a little bit. Like, do you, like, motivate us? No, he's drill sergeant. We're running hard. Like, and you gotta think, I'm coming off smoking all this K2. My lungs are fucked to shit. And I smoke cigs. I've been smoking cigs since I was 15, so, like, my lungs are hit. So I'm, like, out of breath. I was born with asthma, so that makes it even worse. And then I'm thinking, oh, after we're done, oh, I made it through that. And then he's like, all right, let's go to, where they do, like, the Zumba classes or, like, the aerobics classes. And he's having us jump on these, like, little, I'm blanking out right now, little mats, little stacks of things. But they're, like, 2 feet in the air, 3 feet in the air. My fat ass can only jump a foot in the air. So I'm like, how the fuck do you expect me to get on this? And I'm laughing because I'm seeing all these, like, we're all big as hell. It's a fat camp. Like, you're not getting skinny. So we're jumping on these motherfuckers, nearly falling on our ass. People are busting their shit. We're waddling around. Thank God we were in a private room because people would have recorded this and laughed their ass off. But dude, I was lost. I was like, within 45 minutes of getting to that gym, I was like, I want to go back home. I was like, this was a bad decision. Um, and it wasn't a lot of people. It was when I got there was two other guys, and what was fucked about it is they were a little older than me, one, and then two, they were both 6'2". I'm 5'8", but at the time I was 5'6", maybe 5'7". Nah, probably 5'6". So I'm 8 inches shorter than both these dudes, 100 pounds smaller than both these dudes. And then the girls are more my size. Some of the girls are bigger than me. Like not like height wise a little bit, but size wise, like some of them were bigger than me for sure. Um, and then I find out I'm thinking that's it for the day because I'm beat. No, we do 3, 4 workouts a day. So the next day, oh, I'm sore. Well, they got me up. I think you had to be in the kitchen, which like it's like a house. So you have to be in the living room at 7:30, and if you're late, you have to do extra laps. So yeah, they got you running at 8 to 8:30. You're running laps, doing sprints, stuff like this. So like, picture like a football practice of just the fattest linebackers you got, just chugging everywhere, and then you go, you eat. There's nothing but water and milk. And they give you like real good food, but it's small portions, and then you can eat unlimited salad. So like, you would always love the food, but then you'd feel fucking shysted because you're really eating like half of what you want. So now you're picking out on salad, but I don't eat dressing, so it gets to the point I'm putting hot sauce on salad, just eating it, gallons of it, dude, over this time. And I don't even like milk, so I'm just drinking water, but I'd eventually start drinking milk just because it was like drinking water every fucking time gets old. But fast forward a week or two, I'm like starting to get the hang of things, get real cool with my roommates. I brought this little radio I could play my music from my iPod. So we're bumping like Tyler the Creator, like Yonkers, the Bastard album, getting real tight. And then this dude shows up. Is this black dude? He was the same height as them, maybe a little taller, 6'3", I think. He was 560 pounds. He's the biggest dude I ever met, like in person. And I don't want to say his name, but I'll just say like he had a funny last name. His last name was Weidman, which I thought was funny for being a big dude, you know. And then I find out he's a black Mormon, which I thought that was trippy because I had never met a Mormon in real life. My dad's adopted brother as a kid was a Mormon, but he died when I was 4, so I never really got to like dissect it. I always thought it was crazy, you know. But he was real cool, man. If he's listening, like shout out to I nearly said his name, fuck. But what ends up happening is we have an MMA class, and so I'd have to be put against the dudes. They're like double my size, so I wouldn't even try. I'd just let them fuck me up. Maybe get a couple hits in, but I was not really trying. And then when the girls would put me, I was always raised you don't hit a woman. So like, I would let these girls clobber me, dude. And there was this one girl, so let's call her Julie. Well, Julie had the fucking locked in on me. She just something I did pissed her off, and she just never liked me. So like, she would try to like titty twister me when we're wrestling because I wouldn't hit her. Try to hit me in the dick, shit like that. And it was just like, because she was mad I wouldn't fight her, but because I'd let her choke me out and stuff, just tap and then go to the own like. But never tried because I was in a weird position where like, if I'm fighting the dudes, I got to go all out because they're double my size. If I'm fighting the women, if I go out at all, I'm feeling like a horrible guy, even though I'm supposed to do it. Because we weren't hitting in the face or nothing. It was like body shots, stuff like that, you know. and we're all fat, so it's not like we didn't have padding. But yeah, so I'll never forget. Like one of the craziest stories from there, and it'll be my last story about fat camp for now. Tell some more later. They brought in a mini horse, which I had seen one as a kid. My uncle, he had bred horses. So he had bought a mini horse for my step cousin, basically, who was like 6 or 7, trying to like get brownie points with the mom. We had 3 Great Danes, two female and a like male, and their kid that he was trying to sell but couldn't get rid of him fast enough. So now he's like a 7, 8 month old Great Dane with 2 big ones. Well, when they get in that pack mentality, Great Danes are monsters. Nicest animals, sweetest dogs, giant lap dogs, basically. But some triggered them with the horse. They ate the mini horse. So I had bad experiences with them, and this was another bad experience. So they bring the mini horse in, and I'll never forget. Right when she comes in, she starts acting weird, like starts like scooting a bunch, blah blah blah. And they had big horses out, and then this mini horse, like trying to show you the difference between real horses and mini ones. Well, it comes out that the mini horse is in heat, and then one of these big horses is over here neighing all the time, and we're like thinking he's trying to fight her. The lady ends up telling us the truth. Nah, he's trying to get some mini cheeks. He's trying to bust them midget cheeks. He's trying to get that Chris Hansen swagged up. He's trying to go crazy. And I'll never forget not only seeing this fucking horse's boner and nearly throwing up, but seeing this mini horse try to fuck and these like workers fight in fear because this mini horse nearly fucked the horse in front of all these fat kids. And then they'd have counseling after, and every single person was like, that was one of the worst things I've ever went through. I would never, I would never want to send that. It was just the most disgusting thing, dude. And yeah, fat camp was hard. Honestly, I think it made me associate losing weight with fucking like a bunch of shit. But like, that's just being a bitch and justifying still being big. But yeah, I always thought that was funny. I'm one of the few people that went to fat camp. I have some fucking crazy stories from there. Trying to sneak out and escape. Bunch of shit. Fat camp love. Um, it's ugly, dude. But I think this is a good like first episode, first podcast, whatever the fuck. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what I can do better. I hope y'all like got a couple laughs out of my pain. But yeah, so y'all have a great day, great night. All right, I'll see y'all.